Hi, this is Scott from Heretical Sraffa. I'm just going to give a short little video here, kind of an update of where we're going to be going. We're in the holiday season now, and there's a couple of weeks where I'm going to be free to get some of the stuff uploaded that I've already shot in terms of my video, to some of the changes that I've made in the lecture notes already. I know that I put up a whole series of lectures on that big PowerPoint, and it's long and it's a bit repetitive, and I get it, and I'm trying to get better as I do this, more professional. But I have thought a lot since then too. I mean, these ideas are developing. I think certainly the question of the efficacy of the classical theory of value distribution, and the relevance of that, and to understand that it has tremendous. I'm looking for Onmore's book, and among many books, Onmore's I had it right here. Book Capitalism demonstrates in whatever chapter, I think it's chapter 6 or chapter 8, I forget, the empirical validity of labor values, just this straight up embodied labor value, right? And we all know that there are deviations to that, and I think that still we can show some of these relations, and the argument there, of course, is to say that the classical theory of value distribution is relevant, and it's relevant for how we understand advanced capitalist economies, not fairy tale storybook ideas of idyllic economies and idyllic little stories and amusement parks with with tickets, and you use that to mimic the money supply. I mean, that crap's taught to us in the textbooks. It's in undergraduate economics is just awful, right? I mean, the first principles year is a complete waste, and what happens with principles of economics, principles of micro and principles of macro, it's a full year, right? Full calendar year, academic year of a wasted time, really, quite frankly. And I really hope that within the discipline of economics, the professionals can step up. That's us, right? We need to step up, and we need to demand a lot more accountability, kind of like the Me Too movement in terms of sexism and sexual assault here in the United States. I mean, there should be an accountability that's being laid onto these purveyors of neoclassical ideology, quite frankly. I mean, they can have their perspective. I mean, no one's telling them that they can't teach what their stuff is, right? But we should too. We should be able to teach ours as well, and it should be, part of what we see as diversity. I mean, if we're talking about diversity in academic departments, it's also got to be a diversity of ideas, right? And not just and including a diversity of many different realities that the objective conditions of one's existence bring. You bring in the race and the gender and the sexual orientation and the whole phenomena that we see, the realities of late capitalist, decaying capitalist society, where we're moving from a capitalist economy to a rentier economy. That's certainly one of the things that I learned at the INET conference, which again I think was really good. I got a lot out of that I reflect back on there, and I think it's really important, especially when we start looking at artificial intelligence, guys. I mean, this is going to be a huge issue. There's going to be huge displacement of people's productive labor, which is as such not bad, right? It's not a matter of that we could produce more things, by robots, etc. It's a matter of distribution, right? I mean, that's the whole point. How is this shit? How is this stuff distributed, right? And how do we? Who gets the material, and who produces it, and how's it's distributed? Huge implications, and certainly we have to question the market mechanism therein. So we're here. I think that one of the things that we have to be clear about is to demand accountability in terms of economic theory, and also in terms of politics and political reality, and then the historicity or the historical limits of capitalism. I mean, I'm sorry, you can't say that capitalism's always going to go on forever just because you want to. I mean, I'm talking not you necessarily. This is euphemistically to those who want to defend the capitalist mode of production and claim that the economics, right, is a science of human endeavor or human behavior under rational conditions that are imparted upon people as if that's in their DNA, when it ain't, right? And I think that we can certainly demonstrate that And one of the things that I got out of reading some of the Sraffa papers is an understanding, especially when you read the lecture notes on the advanced theory of value, that one of the problems that has to be reckoned with the utility theory is like, okay, even if we give you the idea that, you know, acquisitive behavior is human nature, which I don't, quite frankly, it's not the best of our nature, right? And we can change. You know, and we can adapt, and we can see that, well, maybe that particular nature, if it's going to be that, which I don't think it is, I think it's socially constructed, still is not amenable to change, because we can't do that, because we've seen that, you know, we've evidenced that in socially speaking. And this is where I think, to my fellow social scientists out there, okay, you always hear the cliche that, oh, well, that ain't rocket science. You know, this ain't rocket science. And that's right. This ain't rocket science. This is actually harder than rocket science, right? Because they know how to fly rockets. Right? They fly the hell out of rockets, man. They fly them all over the place with precision, you know, or not, right? But certainly with precision. So rockets are flying. All right, and we still have a more daunting task to explain the actual conditions of the capitalist mode of production, which may be threatening to the interests of those in power. And I think that as scientists, we can't be afraid to demand a space to be able to articulate that and develop that on, you know, a rigorous scientific and, open, completely wide open lines. And I think that as, you know, radical economists, as heterodox economists, you know, Marxists, Sraffians, post-Keynesians, institutionalists, radical feminists, I think all of us have a responsibility to demand our space. Don't just ask for it. I mean, one of the things at the various conferences, and we're going to go to the ASSA, first it's going to be the ICAPE conference, January 4th, the International Confederation of Associations for Pluralism in Economics, going to be at Drexel University. On the 4th, really great. We got a variety of different heterodox associations that are bringing their members there right on the eve of the ASSA. And then we got the ASSA, URPE at the ASSA sessions, which look great. And Armand Gazicki has organized this, Jeff Schneider for ICAPE. We got some really good people here, and we're really trying to get it together because I do believe that we're on the arc of history. We're on the cusp of history. And I think that in that sense, you know, the Bannon crew, I mean, they get something right, you know, in the sense that they can understand that their way of life is coming, you know, it's ending, and they want to go into a different direction, which, as we know, is just completely untenable. I mean, we got people in power that deny climate change, and Southern California is on fire. You know, my oldest daughter had to evacuate. She's safe and everything, but it's serious, and we can't just pretend that it's not, because people in power say that it's so. And this is what the responsibility on us is with respect to economics. I mean, we can say, okay, you can teach the Cobb-Douglas production function, but that ain't true with a capital T, that's for sure. And that shouldn't be the only way in which we can understand aggregate relations of production and distribution, etc. And we need to demand that accountability. One of the things that we were going to try to do at URPE, Union for Radical Political Economics, is that we want to try to see if we can, you know, get some type of scientific accountability on the parts of the different economics departments throughout the country to hire heterodox economists to teach the perspective. And we have heterodox economists that need jobs. So it's not like that, you know, well, you can't find economists. We got plenty of them. We're organizing them. What we need to do is demand that the Harvards and the Yales and the MITs and all these institutions have a radical economist on there. And you could call him a token or her a token economist. But what we do is we get the one economist on the faculty of these different institutions, and we network outside the institutions, and we keep networking and organizing amongst ourselves in the various institutions. And that's the only way in which we can develop any type of scientific critique and truly scientific understanding of this, and do it openly, absolutely openly, nothing furtively, and we demand accountability on it, because science is on our side and pluralism is on our side, and the young people especially know this, that the future of what we're seeing, of the status quo, is not tenable. And don't let the people in power tell you that it is, you know, when in fact it's not, and then let the few of you guys kind of get up there and take their place when they decide to leave, because it's collapsing. And I think that this is what we all have to understand. So that's kind of my thing. I think that one of the issues that we're looking at with respect to the United States is, you know, realization that socialism, for example, is an American tradition. right? I mean, we are Americans, and many of us are socialists. We're not capitalists, and I think that that's something that has to be argued. We had socialism, a developed socialism in the United States of America before there was a Soviet Union, and we're not in the pocket of the Russians. The other guys are, right? I mean, I say that relatively euphemistically. I don't mean to cast any dispersions anywhere. Everything needs to be completely open and upfront. So I'll put there's a link. We're organizing here in Tulsa. I'm organizing with the Green Country Democratic Socialists of America. There's a link under this video dialogue box for a speech that I gave, and some other links I'll put up there that talk about the tax bill blowback rally. We're against the regressive taxation. We're not. You can't use economic science in order to justify fleecing the entire economy to benefit the billionaire and millionaire class. It cannot be done, not without a fight. So we're going to see what's going to happen at the ASSA in Philly, and we're going to be there, and we're going to try to articulate a position that I think is much more tenable with respect to the development and sustainability of our species, guys. That's kind of where we're at here, okay? And then on that, I'll leave it, but I do want to say we're going to start putting stuff, some of the lecture notes up. I really am excited to get some of the more archival stuff up. I'm really excited to get my website up so people can peruse the archive in a much more friendly manner. All interface with the Cambridge archive and the Wren archive. Everything is going to go good, but I'll be uploading stuff in the next few days, leading up through Christmas. So check out what's going on. Read Wikipedia. I'm going to be going on Wikipedia a little bit. Start looking at the Cambridge controversy entry. I'm going to be Heretical Sraffa there. So if you see that, everything's up front and open, and I think that there's a tremendous opportunity to really reach people in the Wikipedia and developing the Sraffa archive page there. Everything, all the stuff is open source, and hopefully we can use that as a launching platform from which we can make this really general and really big. Anyone who wants to transcribe anything, let me know so that people aren't repeating it, and we can try to organize this together. Okay. Happy holidays to everybody. And the last thing I want to say is I was born in Alabama. All right, so go. I don't know. We didn't live there much, but I was born in Huntsville, Alabama. So, and I'm generally from the South. For those of y'all that don't know, my family's from Georgia. I grew up mostly in Florida, in Middle Florida, Polk County. But it was tremendous. I think. I mean, Jones wasn't Doug Jones wasn't a radical by any means, but I thought it took courage for a lot of that crossover vote to go and vote for a Democrat in Alabama, and to stand up for some decency and integrity, which is not necessarily the Democratic Party, but I do want to recognize that, and it's nice to have been born in Alabama here. So that's all I'll say. Roll Tide, I guess, right? All right, we'll see you online. Okay, peace.